I have a question. Who's old enough to know the song "The Lost Chord"? Raise your hand. Oh no. No. Oh my. Well, then we need a good narrator. Who's a good narrator? Oh, come on. We need somebody who does a good. I know. Paula. Okay. Now, you read the left-hand side of this and be familiar with it. I'll be calling on you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you're the narrator.
Give me a minute to find my glasses.
Well, you better. Well, the clock reads 7:05, so I guess we should get started. Welcome to you all. Thanks for coming, and welcome especially to our friends from the Netherlands who came 5,000 miles just to be here tonight.
Not bad.
I don't know. It's a lot.
Hope you brought an overnight bag.
Now, I learned something about people from the Netherlands. They all, I'll show you. What's your first name?
Yeah.
Oh, say it loud.
Adriaan.
What's your first name?
Adriaan?
Yeah. What's your first name?
Adriaan.
You thought I was kidding. Now, even the women have the same first name. What's your first name?
Anna.
What's your first name?
Anna.
See that? They have two names in the whole country. That makes it easy. Well, we don't talk about him. He must be from some other country. Well, as you were coming in earlier, I told you a little bit about this property. It used to be Marcy Lumber Company for since the 1870s. Over in the other building, we found a trunk full of documents, whole trunk full of letters written in the 1870s, orders from the company. Many of them had beautiful engraving, letterheads and things like that. We still have that, and we're going to go through them carefully and make some nice collages out of them. They're beautiful things. But I was only the second owner of this property, and the Keiths are the third now. So it hasn't changed hands too many times. I bought this on the telephone in about 2 minutes. My wife saw a classified ad in the paper. I was over in West Springfield, and it was getting crowded. You decided to come after all. Hey, there's a perfect seat for you right there. The ad read, former lumber company for sale, Palmer, and it had a telephone number. So I called the number, and I came and looked at it. I called it back. This is the third generation Marcy I'm talking to. And I said, well, what's the price? And he told me, and I said, I don't have that much. He says, what do you got? So I told him. He says, okay. Send me a check. it was that, in those days, that was very simple. Now, lawyers and investigations and inspections and permits, and I never could have done that. But that was 2 minutes on the telephone, and I said, where's the keys? He says, you'll find the door open, just go in, you'll be all right. And then he said, oh, by the way, the house goes with it. That's good. So we, in various times, we have restored the house. And he said, oh, by the way, there's some old lady living in there, and like a squatter, you know. And he says, you'll have to get rid of her. So I knocked on the door once and nobody answered, but I left a note. I'd appreciate it if you'd be, whoever you are, please be out by 2 weeks or something like that. I mean, sure enough, she was. I never saw her, but she in the cellar, it was full. She had kept her dogs. It was a sand, dirt cellar, and she kept 2 dogs down there. So you get the idea what happened down there. So I had my employees, I had to pay them double to shovel out the cellar through the window. But they were happy to get the money, and then we poured a concrete floor. So this has been on property of myself and Beverly, who's always watching to make sure I don't make a mistake, for quite a long time. And we're happy to be here, and we're extra happy that it's going into good hands. The Keith, Brian worked for me since he was even single, and now he's got 18 kids over there. But it's a long time ago. And they live right here in that house. So everything worked out well. So now I have to make a living on my music store. And, hey, I know, at first of the month, what do most of you guys do?
Pay rent?
You pay me rent, so that keeps me going. Keeps the lights on in here. Okay. We're happy to have our Dutch friends here, the Werken. Hope I got that right. And we have been touring organs in Western Mass, the old-time tractor organs, and even the reed organs. We'll get, this is a patriotic theme, so be ready. Adriaan, maestro.
We got it right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And on the flute. told you this was
But first we can sit down
pretty,
for a while and we will write up when we start.
okay. Everyone's sitting. See, I told you this was pretty informal. I love this song. many of the instruments in here, if not most, were made in Brattleboro, Vermont. There is a picture of the factory right there, in your way. The factory still exists. Much of it has been broken up into repurposed, but one of the buildings is a museum. So if you're going up to Brattleboro, you might want to stop at the museum that is full of, like this, full of reed instruments. Esty made this instrument. That's one of their largest ones, and the sound is incredible in here. They also, this is an example of their largest, this is an example of their smallest. And this was bought by our church in Springfield in 1937, and it was bought by contributions from the, what they call the Young People's Society. And believe it or not, in those days, there was over 40 people in the Young People's Society, teenagers, and they all chipped in and bought this organ, and the advisor went with them up to Brattleboro to pick it up, and there's a couple of notes that aren't playing, so it's not Adriaan's fault, it's my fault for not fixing it. So Adriaan will show you how nice a little organ compared to a big organ can be. Thank you, Adriaan. Appreciate that. This organ was bought to carry around to hospitals and street corners, things like that. And it folds up into a box about this tall, just what you see up top. Everything below that is legs. It folds up, carry it around. Very simple. Adriaan, you can go and sit down in your special chair for now. The Esty Organ Company started in 1845, yes, and they built more reed organs, I'll tell you about that, what's a reed organ, than any other company in the world. Over 500,000 reed organs came out of that company. Over 500,000, imagine that. And what's a reed organ, you may ask? Somebody asked, what's a reed organ?
It's a reed organ.
Oh, good. Well, this is a reed organ. All the sound came from little reeds. Now here's a example. It's bigger than actual reeds in an organ, but it's an example. See, there's a brass frame, and there's a vibrating tongue right in the middle. See that? And they also are very small. That's about a medium size, and they get down to about half that size for the high notes. The bigger the reed, the lower the note. So in this building there are several reed organs. You've heard two already. There's two categories of household organs. One is a parlor organ where the sound comes out toward the player, and the other I'll tell you a little bit later. Adriaan, go ahead. This was made in Meriden, Connecticut. It's about 1875.
Graduation, huh? Sounds good. Really good.
This is foot pump. All the air in this one too. Foot pump. This has been electrified. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
The ST Organ Company around 1900 went into the business of making pipe organs. We'll hear one later. And they made over 1,000 pipe organs, and they're all over the country, mostly in New England because they're hard to ship. But they're every pipe organ you hear, and many of them will be from the SD company, right there. And that was all operated by steam. See that smokestack? Big steam engine right there. And between all the buildings ran a steel rod. All the buildings, and that one steam engine in that building where the flag is ran all equipment. All the equipment just from one steam engine, and it had a flywheel of 18 feet diameter. Huge steam engine. During the Second World War, it was turned into scrap for the military, but not there anymore. But imagine all the 500,000 reed organs out of that factory. Just you can see if you look close, stacks of walnut all in the back over there. Walnut trees. Now they're practically all gone, but they used walnut up until about 1875, and then they went to a mahogany, oak, especially, this is oak. A lot of organs turned out from there. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history. We're talking about reed organs. The very first reed organ was this. And this is called a lap organ or elbow organ. And I'll show you why. And also why it's so difficult to play. Because I can't play it. My wife was getting the hang of it a little bit, but it's operated with the elbow. My elbow's no good anyway. Am I sitting in your music? Sorry. Oh, this is a terrible place, but I'll get you the idea. If the right elbow does this, see the bellows pumping up? And you're supposed to play the bottom notes with this hand while you're pumping, and this hand up here.
Happy day.
And I can't imagine anybody doing it, but some of the traveling musicians had it all figured out. They could play anything just with that.
Wow.
Now, this is the very earliest one. It's about 1835. And then somebody figured out, before this, there were pianos and harpsichords that had a keyboard, not buttons. So the next thing they thought of was putting a keyboard on this. Oh, this gets heavier every year, I don't know why. Okay, same thing but with the keyboard.
Oh my goodness.
And here is, I can't, there's two buttons there which gives you the volume. There's two sets of reeds in this one, that's why there's two buttons. But this is not made to hold in your lap. Thank goodness. By the time they got to be that large, somebody said, well, our feet aren't doing anything, why don't we use the feet? So they put a string on this end, down to the floor, with just a wooden pedal that sat on the floor with a string that pulled that. Now they have all their hands ready to play music, so that was a big deal. Then, looking right behind me here, probably can't see it too well, there's a melodeon. That was the up off the floor and pump, instead of with one string, pump with both feet, gave you a lot more volume, a lot more capabilities. That one right there, we don't have to play it though, that's okay. Melodeons were made until about 1845, and then come along the reed organs themselves. The difference is the reed organs can change the tone. Several sets of reeds, you can select them, anything you want. And they were very popular up through about 1900, and then they started to drop off. People got pianos instead of reed organs, but Este continued to build reed organs up until the time they went out of business in 1950. They had a big auction there, and I'm glad I didn't attend because I had to build a building. And everything went, everything. Parts, lumber, right down to the bare walls of everything. The buildings remained, there they are. One of them burned down, the rest are there. And they used to be covered with slate because Este had three disasters. The first building was next to a river for river power, water power, and that went down the river in a flood. First disaster. Second disaster said, well, let's get away from the river and let's build our building up on high ground. That burned down. He was having trouble. Then, not to be deterred, he said, I'm going to build a new factory and they're all going to be separate departments. So if one of them catches fire, I still have all the rest. And that's why they're all like this. Every company, every building was a different production. Wood sawing, finishing, parts, and so on, until they went out the door. And well, probably can't see that, but if you look at it afterwards, you'll see horse wagons full of organs going out the factory. Pretty fun. Now, in those days, if a family wanted music in the household, they would have to have somebody who knows how to play music. Not every family could do that. So various inventions came along that were self-playing instruments. One of the first ones was, you send that along, pass it along. I'm sending along a wooden roller, and believe it or not, that's full of music when you see it.
Yeah.
Full of music. I'll show you what.
Music on that.
The first invention was the gem roller organ. That goes into a roller organ. This one. And this sold for $3.50 out of Sears and Roebuck. $3, and those were 10 cents a piece, those rollers.
Okay.
I used to pay my employees like that, but not anymore. Right, Brian? Yeah. Okay, this is a gem roller organ. $3.50, and that's all there was to it, see? Just two bellows. And so simple, even a child could play it. That's me. Here we go. So their advertising says so simple a child could play it. Well, he could. It doesn't back up, so he could play it all day if you could stand it. Well, they had three models. The gem, $3.50. But if you were a middle class family and you had $6, you could buy the concert roller organ. You'll see it takes the same roller, but it has three bellows and a bigger capacity, so you can get more music out of it, but you have the same rollers. The company made 1,140 different tunes, and I'm collecting them. I've got about 900 different ones already. There's a fellow down in New Jersey that has all but three, and they're from, the Netherlands or somewhere like that. By the way, he can't find those. But when he does, he'd pay anything for finding the last three. But this is the concert roller organ. A little bit more volume. Before these were invented, this was invented in 1887, but before that there were attempts made using paper rolls. And so all paper rolls for these are 100 and whatever it is years old, very old, and they don't hold up very well if they're paper. But I'll give you an example of this one. This was made in Boston. It's a Gately automatic organ that plays a paper roll. Well, you can see it. There it is. It's amazing. How many years is that? Like 150 or something like that? That these are still playable. Here we go. Same reeds, they all play those reeds that I showed you. No change, same reeds. Pretty cool for paper, huh?
Yeah.
Old paper. There were a lot of variations of these. About 50 companies came out with various models. Here's an interesting one. I'll have one of you read it. It's in English. Can you read that on the top? Maybe, no, right on the top, right there. Over there. This is hard for Dutch people. Oh, right on the top. On the top, right.
Over here.
Okay,
The musical
Adriaan.
casket.
It's the musical casket. Now, when I die, throw one of these in on the coffin and I'll be happy. Musical, what a name for a thing like this, a musical casket. There's a lady called me from Athol. I don't know where she got my name, but she says I have a player piano thing in my attic, and if you want to come up and buy it, that's okay. I had no player pianos, but a player piano thing, that was a little bit curious. So I had to go to Athol to see what it was. It wasn't a player piano, it was this. And this is called a turnophone, as in turn a phone. This plays a big role. It came with two rolls. They all look like this. Look like they've been through the Civil War or something, probably did. Two rolls. When she brought out that machine, I was happy when she brought out the only two rolls. Whoop. Every time I pick it up and close the other one that I'm going to play looked just like this when I got the thing. So I spent about a week taping it together. So I hope it'll stay together. We'll see what happens. Yeah, save that piece. Okay, this is the turnophone. The lady said it was a player thing. Here we go. Here we go. Difficult because it has friction rollers and they don't always catch, but it'll work better someday.
I wouldn't want to be a DJ in those days. Huh?
That's right. That's right.
It has strong muscles for sure in your arm.
Adriaan is at the piano, so this is very informal. We don't know what's going on, but Adriaan, go for it. Oh, and flute also, yes. This is at the flute. in the field of so-called automatic instruments, there was a lot of crazy things that came out. I have a few of them, actually. I bet you never heard of a player trumpet. Here's one. Plays a paper roll.
You don't need
Now,
any talent for
that's
that.
not enough.
You don't need any talent for that.
Here's a playoff sax. It's a saxophone that plays with a paper roll. See, there it is. These are not restored, so I won't make you suffer through them. However, bet you never heard of a roll monica, as in player piano with a roll. This is the world's smallest music roll. Just like that. The world's largest is in those boxes behind you. They're about 3 feet long. See those up there? So those are the difference in sizes. This is very tiny. And it's okay. I'm going to see if this is very problematic, but I'll try. Let's see what I can do here with this. Forget which is the right. I think it's this one.
Let's run some quarters. Run quarters.
Hey, that's the best applause all night for that thing. Oh, I gotta save the scraps here and go to my next roll. Oh. Starting around 1900, and in fact in 1900, ST built pipe organs, I may have mentioned, and these are organ pipes. So this is quite different than the reed organs. Well, that's why it's here, it doesn't work. Well, they made them out of zinc and lead, and also out of wood. You can see those.
Yeah.
Metal and wood, maybe this one pipe. That's E. Okay. We are pleased to have an ST pipe organ here. I got a telephone call from a family in Needham, Massachusetts. They had bought a big mansion and had no interest in music. And right in the middle of one of their big rooms was that console. And it operated these pipes, which are camouflaged with curtains and things. I don't have the curtains. But I was pleased to get it and dismantle it, get it here, and rebuild it. So this is from 1923. Adriaan, would you play that, please? Adriaan can play anything. He's got a keyboard, he can play it. There are two classifications of reed organs. The one that was played earlier is the parlor organ, and that's designed to go up against a wall, and the sound comes out of the front. You can see those two sound openings, and also under the keyboard. Another one, Adriaan, is the chapel organ, and that's designed for the sound to come out the back, because in a chapel, the organ would, see, a parlor organ is up against the wall. Chapel, the organist wants to look at the minister and what's going on, and so on. So it's designed for the sound to come out the back. So you folks down to the back end will get more sound than some of us. But Adriaan will play this. This is Storian Clark, made in Chicago. And it found its way all the way here for some reason. And here it is. Many stories about reed organs. Here's another one. A friend of mine called, his name was Jeffrey Wood. He lived in Wilbraham. He knew I collected things like this. He was down in Springfield, where they were tearing down all the old brick buildings and so on, and Chestnut Street and White Street, you know, that area. And one of the buildings was coming down, and he drove by and saw that there was this was an old burlap warehouse. They sold burlap bags and things. And the excavators were uncovering all this stuff. And here comes all these burlap got taken away, and all of a sudden here's this organ sitting there.
Wow.
And it was a very special organ, not just any old organ. And Jeff called me from Springfield, and I said, give the record operator a $20 bill and give him a half an hour not to tear it down. So he did that. And I got there, and what I found I couldn't believe, and you can see the end of it, right above Mozart there, that's the organ. And it helped people like me who don't know how to play, because it plays by itself. And it looks like a piano roll, but it's not it's a piano roll. It's special for this organ. Now I'm going to play. We got a green thing here. We have a famous narrator here, Paul. Paula, it's interesting, this was written in 1870, and it was a smash hit in 1870. And Mr. Murray will remember that.
Yeah. That was born a year after that.
So, I gave you the words because it's very, it's not just the music that's incredible, it's the words. So, my friend Paula here, who's been practicing this for what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
Something like that.
2 minutes.
Will narrate, and she'll tell you the words while you look at it, but you'll get the idea. Now, remember, there's a little intro, then
I'm gonna
then
wait.
you're on,
I'll wait
okay.
for your signal.
And this plays by itself. I hope it gets a little temperamental, but we'll see what happens. Well, you have the word. The story is that a organist back in about 1870 was playing around, and somehow on the organ she hit a chord, and she could never duplicate it, never. And then she wrote this about the lost chord, and that's the words. I can't either.
Seated one day at the organ, I was weary and ill at ease, and my fingers wandered idly
sit around your pipe organ without hearing that. So, Adriaan, pipe organ, please. He doesn't know what's coming up. I promised to hold, oh, my tongue stopped? We could go on forever, my clock stopped. It's only 20 past 7. Almost 8 o'clock, so we'll ask Adriaan to do one more. Tell him one more. Adriaan can do anything.
I'd be here.
Okay. Now, thank you for coming. Our new owners, the Keiths, have prepared a sumptuous meal. It's right outside the door. It's getting a little chilly, but there's hot coffee, and there's lemonade, and there's cookies. So feel free to help yourself. Is there any questions before we quit that
No.
occurred to you?
Wonderful.
Like, how did I get into this stupid thing? Okay.
Anna, kom maar even.
Oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, really? Whoa. Can I open it?
Yeah.
I didn't expect presents, it's not Christmas even. This is gonna be hard, but I'll try. Ooh. Wow.
Maybe we can mark